My boss cost himself thousands of dollars because I'm not to make any decisions myself in the field. I'm a civil engineer, and I work in the geotechnical field. Basically, when someone wants to build a building, railroad, bridge, etc., they hire us to do an investigation of the soil and bedrock beneath the site and give them recommendations on foundation and/or subgrade design. At this time, I was working for a very small engineering company, and we always subcontracted out the drilling part of the investigation, though I was there to take soil samples and write a log. My boss was notorious for being a PITA to these drilling subcontractors, always making them do extra stuff for no reason. These contractors typically work on a day rate, that is, they charge X dollars per day, regardless if they work a full 8 hours or not. In the boss's mind, if they weren't working for a full 8 hours, he wasn't getting his money's worth. On one of my first drilling jobs, I incurred the boss's wrath for daring to let the drilling crew leave after 7.5 hours on a hot day. My boss was furious and informed me that I was not to make any decisions myself in the field. I was annoyed but respected his orders. His micromanaging and stupid orders became a routine annoyance. Fast forward almost a year later, and we are doing a drilling job in an athletic field that is proposed to be used as the site for a new school. I arrive and meet the drillers the first day, and as planned we drill a 60 feet deep hole and take samples. It's important to note two things: the field was at the top of a 50 feet plus high hill, and the location of the hole, drilled vertically into the ground, was between the bases of a baseball field. Because of the first factor, the groundwater level ended up being almost 60 feet down. We check groundwater level as this can impact foundation designs. Sometimes, we install a monitoring well so we can come back later and record the water level. Our work scope included installing one of these wells. It's also important to note that in addition to their day rate, the drilling contractors charge us for materials, and a well is charged per foot. The price was about $25 per foot. I call my boss after we finish this hole and tell him the groundwater is 60 feet down and suggest a well would be prohibitively expensive. He insists we install a 30 deep well that we all know will be dry, which translates to about $1,000 between the well and its road box cover. I also suggest we pick a different location, but he insists we place it right here. Remember, right here is between second and third base, and a completed well includes a road box sticking out of the ground. I realize this is dumb and may cause problems down the line, but I'm not allowed to make decisions, right? I can't overrule him. So we do what we are told. About 3 weeks later, we got an angry email from our client asking why there's an object between two of the bases in the baseball field. Boss couldn't get mad at me because he had told me to place it exactly there, after all. So we now have to remove this road box, which is essentially a roughly 6-inch steel tube with a cap, cemented into the ground. We don't have the tools for this, so my boss tries to strong-arm the drilling contractor into removing it for free. They of course refuse and say we just did what you told us to. Ultimately, my boss, who's also owner of the company I work for, has to pay them half of a day rate for essentially 10 minutes of work to chisel out and remove the road box and fill in the top of the hole, plus 2 hours of pay and mileage for me to return to the site, shoot the poop with the contractors for a bit, take a photo of the completed job, and leave. He had to eat all of this instead of billing it to our client. I wish I could say he learned something from the ordeal, but I certainly felt justified, and he was less overbearing after this happened. I now work for a much larger company that runs their own drill rigs, and we no longer have stupid stuff like this happen.